Welcome to the Dietitian Side Hustle podcast. My name is Katie Dodd, and I'm a nutrition entrepreneur. I spent 7 years as a side hustler before diving into entrepreneurship full time. Before making the leap, I was bringing in 6 figures through my side hustle. If I can do it, you can too. This podcast is for dietitians, interns, and students who want to be inspired to start or perfect the side hustle of their dreams. Let's do this. Hello and welcome to the 118th episode of the Dietitian Side Hustle podcast. Why is it so hard to get started? I feel like I keep coming back to this question because I meet so many of you who want to start, but you just feel stuck. And I keep coming back to this quote that I heard and I loved it. It said, so many people get stuck in the start. They get stuck in the start, meaning they get stuck because they're just so overwhelmed by starting, they can't even move forward. They can't even start because they are stuck there. So in the Dietitian Side Hustle Facebook group, I go live every Monday at 5:30 Eastern Time, and I talk about lots of different topics. And back in July, I actually talked about this topic, why is it so hard to get started? And so for today's conversation, I actually wanted to kind of cut in that conversation I had on Facebook because I think it's a really important one where we talk not only about why is it hard to get started, but what can you do to overcome that? What can you do to get started? My hope is that after listening to today's episode, you can identify reasons maybe why you are stuck at the start, and then what you can do to overcome that hump. If starting a side hustle, starting a new stream of income, doing something new in entrepreneurship is something you really, really want to do, how do we get you to move forward? It is close to the end of 2022, and I'm a big fan of let's not wait till January. Let's not wait till January 1st to set those big goals of now I'm going to start. The best time to start is now. So I hope that you find this episode inspirational, that you find yourself wanting to take action. So I'm going to go ahead and cut in the recording from the Dietitian Side Hustle live show. It did air on July 18th, 2022. And if you are not a member of the Facebook group, just head on over to Facebook, search Dietitian Side Hustle, join our group. It's a wonderful community of dietitians, RDs to be, and DTRs, just like you. And golly, we're getting close to 5,000 people. So I would love to have you there. And I hope that you enjoy this conversation. So the topic that I wanted to talk about today was, why is it so hard to start? Now, you are in this community for a reason. Either you want to start a side hustle, you have a side hustle, you want to add an additional stream of income. There's usually something that you want to do for most of you who are in the community. And the question is why is it so hard to start, to do the things that we want to change from dreaming to actually doing? So I will say, it depends. It depends on you, your situation, all of the things. But so often from what I've seen from working with dietitian side hustlers is it's hard to start for lots of reasons. Number one, they don't know where to start. You don't know what you want to do. If you know what you want to do, you don't know how to do it. You're so overwhelmed by all of these moving parts that you think you need to do that you are just completely stuck, or you lack motivation. You feel like, I just don't have the time to do this. I'm just too busy. Someday I will do this. So if any of those resonate with you on why it's hard to get started, go ahead and let me know. But I think that those are the ones I see a lot. Again, don't know where to start, don't know what you want to do, don't know how to do it. You're just overwhelmed, you're stuck, you don't have the motivation. It feels like you don't have the time. But the question is, if you really want to start a side hustle, how can you get started? So I'm going to walk you through 4 ways, I guess 4 main things you need to do to get started that will really help you overcome that, gosh, why is it so hard to start piece? I think the first thing is figuring out what is possible, figuring out why you want to start, figuring out how to do the thing, and when you're going to do it. So let's talk through the what, why, how, and when, okay? So when it comes down to what's possible, it's figuring out, well, what do I really want to do for a side hustle? You might be like, man, I just want to do some hobby. I just want to make some more money. I just want to do something, but I don't know what it is. So the first step is to figure out what is possible. Now, there are so many things that you could do for your side hustle. You can work with patients. You can have an online course. You can sell digital goods. You can be a freelance writer. You can create your own products, whether digital or physical goods. There are a lot of different things that you can do as a dietitian, especially in the online space. So step number one is you got to figure out what is possible. And as you start learning, something will resonate with you and you'll figure out like, yeah, that's what I want to do. Once you know what to do, there's still the struggle because you don't know how to do it. So the next piece is even before you figure out how to do it is actually even more important. And let me backtrack. I'm stumbling my words, but the why piece is more important. I think often we jump from, okay, here's what I want to do. I'm going to figure out how to do it. But that's skipping over an actually really important part of the why. Why do you want to do it? Now, I think this isn't something we're taught in school, but when you are a side hustler, you have less time. You likely have a full-time job. You are maybe a parent. You are juggling all kinds of balls in the air. And here you are wanting to start something new. And the reality is we live in an imperfect world. Things happen, health issues happen. We get busy, people get sick, we get distracted. There's so many different things that happen in life. And just knowing like, here's what I want to do, I'm going to figure out how to do it isn't enough. We have to have a strong why. That strong why is going to help you when life happens, when the ups and downs happen. It will help you really survive the long haul to actually start the thing. And it's not just another idea in your head that you're like, well, that was a great idea, but that never happened. So what are some examples of strong whys? Now, a why is going to vary based on who you are and what what you value. And I will tell you, there's no wrong answer to your why. It's very personal to you because we all value different things, and that's okay. If someone, values making money, that's amazing. If someone values having more time, that's amazing. If someone values spending more time with their children, that's amazing. We all have things that are different to us, but we need to dig deep and figure out, why am I doing the thing? Okay. So just again, to throw out some different whys might be, my why is I am in a job that I appreciate. It pays the bills, it provides benefits, but I'm not passionate about it. I became a dietitian for a reason. I want to get back to my roots of why I became a dietitian. Maybe your why is you've experienced something in your own life and you were able to get better through the power of nutrition, food and nutrition, and you want to help other people not go through what you went through. So that could be your strong why, is just, helping other people not go through this horrible thing you went through. Maybe your why is you want to have a family and you're like, how on earth am I gonna go on maternity leave without pay, how things currently are in our country. And I need to save up some money so that way I can, do these things that I want to do, like maybe starting or building a family. Maybe your why is you want to go on more vacations and you want to make more money in order to do that because you really value travel and memories and time with family, right? So those are some examples of whys. I will share a big why that I have is my children, to be more present with them. And that was a big why of why I'm now a full-time hustler or whatever you call me. So anyways, figure out your why. Once you have your why, then start figuring out the how. So how to do the thing. And I feel like this is going to be super vague because every side hustle is a little bit different, but some of the things you need to learn how to do include, I actually have a little worksheet I'm going to pull up, just make sure I don't miss any of the things, but maybe it is to, well, obviously to learn more about the topic, but it might be to take an online course. Maybe you need to work with a coach. Maybe you need to make a business plan. Maybe you need to purchase equipment, purchase online programs. Maybe you need to develop skills. And I think a lot of us need to develop skills because we are dietitians by trade and not business people. So maybe you need to develop skills related to how you build an audience, how to do marketing and sales, writing copy so people understand what you're doing and want to buy from you. Graphic design, creating cool images, social media, maybe it's technology, communication. If you're a blogger like me, search engine optimization, business skills, email marketing, finance management, like the list goes on. But when you're figuring out the how, it's how do you do the thing and what are those skills that you need to develop to accomplish what you want? So the last piece is the win. And the win really comes down to creating SMART goals. If you're at the point you figured out, here's what's possible and what I want to do, here's why I am doing it, and it's strong enough for me to weather the storm and not give up. Here's how I'm going to do it. I'm going to learn these skills. I'm going to, figure out the how to.
the next piece is when are you going to do it? And that comes down to setting SMART goals. So setting goals that are specific, measurable, attainable, realistic, and timely. You guys all know the drill, but really making sure the timely piece is put in there. If not, these dreams in our head, they just stay there. They don't come to fruition. I'm a big fan of penciling it into your calendar when it's going to be done, when you're going to follow up, when you're going to do the work, right? So creating goals to paint a target on where you want to go and how you're going to get there. So I will tell you, and I know this is just a brief conversation of, okay, it's really hard to get started, but here's some things you can do to get started. But if you want something more tangible and more detailed, I do have a free mini course. It is called the Dietitian Online Mini Course, completely free to you. Oh gosh, let me double check here. I just bought a URL. I always joke around how, like, when someone starts getting a tattoo and they just don't start, like, they just don't stop. They just keep getting tattoos. And they're like, stop me before I get another tattoo. I'm like that with domains. A domain is like a website name. I have a problem. I just cannot stop buying domain names. It's becoming a problem. But I actually bought a domain name so that way it can be easy for you guys to remember, or easy for me to share with you guys how to access my free mini course. So it's called dietitianminicourse.com. So if you go to dietitianminicourse.com, it's going to have a little sign-in page, put in your name, your email, and I will email you my free dietitian online mini course. And it's going to walk you through all the things we just talked about, figuring out what's possible, all of the amazing things you can do as a dietitian, figuring out your why, figuring out the how, and then the when with setting those big goals. So that is a freebie that I offer. But I will say, if you really wanted to get started with a side hustle or another stream of income, my biggest advice for you is to just take action, do something, even if it is a small step, like signing up for my free mini course. Taking action is really important, because think of it like I just did a podcast on like pebbles and boulders. So I am thinking of boulders and hills all the time now. So imagine you're at the top of the hill and, you give a little shove on a boulder. It's going to start rolling down. It's going to create momentum. So if you really want to start and you're really struggling and you find, man, it is so hard to get started, you just have to do something. You have to take action and start that momentum. The momentum starts rolling like a boulder down the hill. It gets faster, and you keep doing the thing. And then all of a sudden you're like, wow, I'm no longer like starting, I'm doing. So I hope that this was helpful, kind of walking through like, how to actually get started. So again, there's resources for you, dietitianminicourse.com.
Okay, so I cut off that recording a little bit early because on the live show in Facebook, I start going into like, seeing who's on live and taking Q&A, and I figured you guys don't need to hear that. So I hope that you found this episode valuable. I know it was kind of short, brief, to the point. Your action items, take what you learned today, put it into action. If you are tired of being stuck at the start, then use today as the catalyst to start, even if it's a tiny way. Remember, action. It makes all the difference. Even tiny steps. You turn back and you realize, holy cow, I've come a long way. I feel like that's been my side hustle journey, feeling like, oh man, I don't have a ton of time to work on this when I was a side hustler, but you show up, you do the thing, and over time, if you keep doing it, you'll realize you came a long way. So thank you so much for listening to the podcast. I appreciate each and every one of you. Remember, if you are not a member of our Facebook group, go find us, Dietitian Side Hustle, at Facebook. You can also go to my website, katiedodd.com, and it really showcases all of the ways that we could work together. I appreciate you guys so much, and have such a wonderful day and rest of your week. Bye, guys.